Hello everyone, my name is Arditha and welcome back to the Point. In this series we basically just cover the latest update or patch or balance change, and we talk about the stuff that's relevant and ignore the stuff that means nothing to our gameplay. Basically just less time wasting so that you guys can get the up-to-date information about all the patches and stuff without wasting hours of your time. So, the first change that we're going to see here is Blood Warden is now going to have an icon on your heads-up display giving you sort of a timer showing how much time is left of it before it goes away, which basically allows you to be a bit more strategic with your gameplay when using it. Maybe some people will be able to find a way to do something with this, but I still feel like Blood Warden is very, very niche and very risky and probably isn't something you should rely on. Maybe I'm wrong, it's just a personal preference there, but that's how I see it. Spies from the Shadows now gives you a notification 100% of the time instead of like 50% or 75%, and the range has been increased from 16 to 36 to 32 to 48, and also you have a crow noise whenever they're set off, so you know it's a spies proc. Surveillance has had a complete rework, so people can't meme it anymore. Surveillance now allows you to hear generators being repaired from 8 meters further. On top of this, every match, when you start a game, the order of the gens are meant to be shown, so you know which one's being worked on. Apparently, that didn't seem to go through on the patch. Maybe it's a bug, I don't know. However, one thing that definitely does work is that when you kick a gen, its aura will be white instead of red. And when a survivor works on that gen, it will turn yellow, showing that it's there, and that can apply to all gens for an unlimited amount of time. And when it's yellow, it will be yellow for 16 seconds, just so you know someone was there recently. That, in my opinion, is a really, really nice perk. Mainly it's going to help Hillbilly, Nurse. I'm not too sure if Hag can really get use from it, because she can't really teleport at will without a certain add-on, but that is actually, the perk now has a purpose in this game, so if you see a surveillance in a killer's loadout, you don't need to laugh that hard anymore. The next change is going to be to the Legion, and now when you cancel a frenzy, instead of losing all of your remaining bar, you get to keep what you had and regen the rest from there. This is a buff that basically just allows you to be a bit more tactical instead of being forced to keep running at them and keep stabbing at them, really brain dead until it runs out. The Legion's still a very, very, very low skill floor and very low skill ceiling character, but this did give a tiny, tiny, tiny bit of a higher skill cap. It's still the Legion, really. Now, the pig is a change that I was really, really excited for. So, the pig now crouches much faster than before. If we have a look here, I can't really tell which one it is because they've got so many different numbers and they're not really being clear here. But I think it's meant to be 1.3 seconds now instead of 2 seconds to crouch. So it basically means that you don't have to have combat straps. In return, combat straps has been nerfed so that instead of 1 second faster, you crouch 0.3 seconds faster, which basically means combat straps is like brutal strength. Don't ever use it, the value's too low. The crouching is nice. I wasn't really sure if they did it or not because it just didn't seem fast at all. But apparently they did in fact do it, so the change is minimal. However, the pig unfortunately just can't use her dash as much as she wants to because the duration where you have to hold down mouse 1 in order to start dashing takes too long. So videotape or John's medical file are both core on the pig. You have to have them if you want to actually use your dash at all. But at least we now have one open add-on slot. That's really good. We now get to experiment with one add-on instead of having 2 that we have to use. Another change is going to be heartbeat. She's had a few changes to her heartbeat. So, the simplest change so far for the heartbeat is that her heartbeat has been increased from 28 meters to 32 meters. Now, you guys might be getting mad saying, why are they doing that? She's meant to be a stealth killer. Hello, what's going on here? However, in return, they've made it so that when you crouch, your heartbeat vanishes much faster. So basically, you have a higher skill cap with Pig now. It encourages more tactical crouching instead of just slapping on monitor and abuse and running at people. So now your heartbeat will fade away over the course of 4 seconds instead of 6 seconds. This includes your red stain, or 6.6. So, you know, it's a nice change. I think that justifies the heartbeat increase. Pig overall is not going to be any stronger whatsoever, but she might have a bit of a higher skill cap now and might be able to counter-rotate better due to this ability to hide the heartbeat, which does often lead survivors to walk into you because they don't hear you coming from the other direction. Next up, we have the map changes, which are going to be the hooks. Hooks now have been sorted out to basically be better for both sides. From what I'm seeing here, we're seeing that jigsaw boxes don't spawn too close together, which is good for the pig. And we're seeing that hooks will spawn at basically more consistent ranges, meaning that there are going to be more locations and more strict rules. So it means that there will be less hooks spawning in a massive group together, meaning that the killer can, you know, has a million hooks and can hook you wherever. But there also will be less situations in which the killer cannot hook you at all, which is a situation that I found myself in a lot since this last update. Now, other than that, there are not really too many other changes. You've seen things like the backwater swamp getting a crow bomb, the second backwater swamp gets a crow bomb now, which is basically where just a million crows fly away, showing the killer where you are. That is really that. We've got totem placements being supposedly better. Apparently they just spawn closer to objects, meaning that they're hidden better. And they say that totem spots will be continuously improved, beginning with this update. Next up are the next big changes, which I would consider huge. Leader and Prove Thyself. Leader has been buffed from 9% at level 3 to 25% at level 3. However, it now affects everything apart from gens, meaning that basically it's now a very good perk for wanting to speed yourself up in general, but it's not going to allow you to gen rush the killer. And really, Leader was the go-to perk in terms of wanting to, you know, pump out gens as fast as possible. Excuse my usage of the term gen rush. I know lots of people get triggered by that. But yeah, that was the go-to perk for people who like to do gens as fast as possible. So, Leader has been buffed, and it was always the better option than Prove Thyself. So Prove Thyself has also seen a buff, which means that the repair speed of you is increased by 20% or 10%, sorry, for each survivor working on a generator with you. So it basically means that if all 4 of you are on a gen, you now repair generators 30% faster. And you also gain 100% more blood points at max level, but that is crazy. That is absurd. I think it's too early for me to say, oh, it's OP, there's no counterplay, nerf it. That's for you guys to decide. However, chat decided to, you know, play that against me on stream earlier, and I was very scared at how quickly the gens were going. I struggled a lot, and it was not easy playing with how quickly those gens were going. And I was seeing post-game messages from chat saying like, oh my god, the speed of that bar is absurd. I was very scared, and it was very tricky playing against that, so I want to see how the rest of the community react. I think it's too early to judge, but it left me very scared. Now, Technician also reduces the distance of which you can hear audio from up to, or repairing audio from 0 meters to up to 8. And I believe that is pretty much, well, the final change I'd say then is that survivors can no longer see the killer's perks after they've died until the match is over, which is basically a nerf to survivor friends. So if the killer has nowhered, rip your team. A buff to nowhered, really, that's the only perk people really care about. Not really a good thing. However, it's a buff to killers in general, because you could have some other tactics with that, like Blood Warden or whatever. And it basically just keeps survivor friends in check a bit. And I personally think it's really, really good, that change. I love it. And other than that, the miscellaneous stuff is just going to be bugs and, audio changes. Audio is quite good now. However, one thing I would like to say is that bushes are really loud now. I've been hearing survivors' exact locations from the other side of buildings because of how loud bushes are and, grass and that when people are walking in them. So they might need to tone that down a bit. I've been, just been given free chases from other sides of buildings because of how sad it is. Now, I've saved this thing for last because it's a pretty big change and isn't confirmed. The devs are very tentative with this, and they're keeping a close eye on this. And this is going to be self-care. Self-care now heals at 75% speed instead of 50% when you self-care. So that is a buff by 25% when healing yourself. However, if you equip self-care, you will permanently heal all teammates 25% slower. So it means that you heal yourself at 75% and also your teammates, unless you have Will Make It or Botany. It's got a lot of people talking about it. A lot of people seem really worried about it. It is a big change. It's a risky change. I personally think this is actually quite good. Honestly, my output on this is that self-care isn't that prominent anymore. At least in my games, I rarely see people using them. Like it's gone from a guaranteed 4 self-cares every single game to 1 or 2 per match. At least for me recently, maybe 3 every now and then. But from a guaranteed 4-man self-care down to how low it is, it's definitely seen a decrease in usage from my experience. So this is going to give people more of a reason to use self-care. And although most of you don't really want to be seeing self-care, I know Useless believes this shouldn't be in the game, I think that the debuff that it applies to healing others means that things like Sloppy Butcher can actually have a chance. If you guys saw my previous videos, you'll show that I've got the numbers and stuff, and Sloppy Butcher just is not that worth using. However, this new healing reduction on self-care, it opens up the potential. I haven't run the numbers through yet, so I don't know if it is, but at first glance, it's looking like this self-care change could actually be good for Sloppy Butcher primarily, and could in turn be good for killers, especially since survivors are now more encouraged to use it with their 75% healing. And there's also a big F here. The deep wind timer for Legion, it now starts at 20 seconds instead of 30, which means if they're injured, which basically means that the Legion has a sort of stab wound study / Frank's mixtape base kit. Yeah, so I don't think it's quite as strong as Frank's mixtape, but it's a bit risky. So good luck with that. I think that's probably going to encourage moonwalking more than anything. I think this is going to get a lot of people upset, quite rightly so. I haven't really experienced this yet. I haven't been able to test it out in game. I haven't been able to see what it can do, so I don't have much of an opinion on this yet. But I'm interested in it. I'm not too sure what to think. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. This is pretty much a quick overview of what's going on. There are lots of different other changes here, but as far as I'm aware, there's nothing else really noteworthy other than this. I will be sure to update that in the comment, or in a pinned comment or the description, if there are other changes that I probably should speak about. But there you go, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed. Let me know your thoughts down below. Be sure to discuss with each other, and hopefully I'll see you all in the next one.